My name is Sheena Davis with Mockingbird Catering, and you're watching Good Day Paris.
Hello, Paris and West Tennessee. Welcome to Good Day Paris. I'm so glad you decided to join us here today because we have an amazing program lined up for you. So you won't want to miss a moment, I assure you. Today is the day so many people have been waiting for, the official release of Rick Revel's new music video, That Muscle Shoals Sound. And we are honored to have this exclusive first showing here with you today on Good Day Paris. So, Rick Revel is here in the studio with us to fill us all in about all the different background things that happened in the song, as well as some making of the video that he has and behind the scenes footage. So the anticipation is certainly growing here in the studio. The cast and crew from the video are here in the studio with us as well. And we're happy to have all of you here with us as part of this official watch party. So don't go anywhere. Before we bring Rick out, however, I want to tell you briefly just a little bit about next week's guest and why you need to make sure that you tune in for that. Next week, I will be joined by international best-selling author and the clinical director of the OBOT program at the Hometown Clinic, just down the road from here. It's actually in McKenzie. It's Mr. David Johnson. And David has done some amazing work at the clinic, helping people overcome their opioid addictions, as well as turning their lives completely around for the better. And the positive feedback about the program just keeps pouring in, so we're really proud of that and proud to have him on. We'll also be talking about the fact that David is also an accomplished author with 15 books published so far, with almost 1 million copies sold. He's developed a reputation of being a writer of books with heart, and he's featured strong and unforgettable characters in his books. His talent, his latest talent, I should say, Between the River, is set right here in the LBL. It's an emotional, true story about a farming family back in the 1900s, depicting the challenges created by big government land grabbers that were so prevalent at that time. And just might leave you a little bit heartbroken reading all that, but it's what happened. It's the story, true story. And if that wasn't enough, for 23 years, David was also the director of the David Johnson Chorus, a 40-member chorus that traveled all over the state and country. This is an interview I am assuring you, you won't want to miss. Well, and for that matter, you never want to miss any of the episodes of Good Day Paris because they're really all very good. We work really hard to bring you the best. And bookmark us, like and subscribe, and follow us, and smash that notification bell and stay informed. See all our episodes on gooddayparis.com. Also, send us your comments and suggestions to gooddayparis@gmail.com and be a part of the Good Day Paris family by signing up for our newsletter at myparistv.com. There are so many ways to get in touch and be a part of all that is good going on here in this neighborhood. Well, let's not wait another minute. Let's get Rick out here and say hello. Come on in, Rick. Welcome. So glad to have you here today.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is our exclusive time here and the big reveal.
You know, it seems like every time I'm on the show that I'm wearing something that always, you know, kind of gets you. Remember the Christmas thing?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I
we did the Charles
loved that.
Dickens
Yes, that was wonderful.
And then I came on for the Father of the Blues. And
Yes.
had the, you know, look like the Blues Brothers thing. Well,
Yeah.
this is kind of from the 70s,
Yeah.
so I wanted to have the shirt that kind of fits. The theme of the song, I guess, is that Muscle Shoals Sound, and
Great
it was
song.
created during the 70s.
My goodness, that's a good song.
Well,
Love
thank
it. I became an instant fan after I heard you sing it once.
Well, it's a fun piece. How familiar are you with Muscle Shoals and the music created there?
Well, you know, it's funny. I was in Florida growing up and everything, and I hardly was into that sound. I grew up with Led Zeppelin and a lot of, a lot of the rock bands, so to speak, so I wasn't. But man, I'm telling you, I mean, it just won me over like that. I'm like, that is a great sound. And yeah, let's talk about it.
The interesting thing is, Terry,
Yeah.
the Muscle Shoals was kind of that hidden jewel sitting on the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
The Native Americans called it the Singing River.
The Singing River.
The Singing River. And that's what they call the Tennessee. So that's,
Oh.
when you say Tennessee, that's what you're saying is the
Right, I
Singing
love
River.
that history side of you.
And so that's within itself kind of a magical,
Yes.
kind of a thought that here's where they're located, right on the banks of the river.
Yep.
The Muscle Shoals, the shoals are in the river itself.
Okay.
So here's this little town in Alabama. Rick Hall and a couple of guys decide they're going to start a recording studio. And lo and behold, it starts catching fire, and they begin to have people wanting to come there to record. Aretha Franklin being one of the big names that you might
Wow.
recognize.
Oh, I sure do. Love her.
And R.S.P.E.T.,
Oh my goodness. Love
one of the
that.
biggest songs she ever put out.
Love her. She was
Well,
great.
Jimmy Johnson, the rest of the Swampers, which we call the Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, the rhythm section, Muscle Shoals rhythm section, they're the ones that played the music. But when she came there, she was very animate on she heard that sound, and she had listened to other recordings, Wilson Pickett and different ones had recorded, and she said, I want that group of black boys that played that sound. And when it wound up being a bunch of white guys,
Oh.
that used to be grocery clerks, guys
Oh,
that just
wow.
mowed the yard,
Yeah.
and they developed their own sound, very unique.
Oh.
And she couldn't believe it. And this group of guys put down a sound that, changed the world, changed rock and roll music, became R&B music, became a household word.
Yes, it sure did. Yeah.
So Mustang Sally, remember that song?
Yes, I sure do remember
So
that
that's
song.
Jimmy Johnson and the Swampers playing that song. So that's,
That is amazing.
but see, a lot of people don't know
Right.
who these people are. People
Right.
are, see.
And even though I liked a lot of that music, I didn't know, I was just young, studying, I wasn't paying attention to a lot of that stuff, but, I was in school back in those days.
Right. And see, unless you,
Long time ago.
a lot of people that would buy the albums, that's when music was on
Yeah.
a vinyl album, they would read the liner notes and see who did what. And unless you had that album and read that Jimmy Johnson was a guitar player
Right.
or the
How would you
engineer
know? Yeah.
or the producer,
Right.
you wouldn't know.
Right.
And then there are also the forgotten names. And then when CDs came out, all that went away pretty much. Knowing
Yes.
who was involved in the production aspect. So
Right.
a lot of people did not know who Jimmy Johnson was. Unless they're music aficionados and know everything about music, you wouldn't know the name Jimmy Johnson or the Swampers.
No.
But in the song Sweet Home Alabama, they mention it.
Yeah. Well, and what's really cool is I had a cousin who had a sound, and he was doing that, and I never made the connection until just now, Super Swampers, and that's just crazy. So, I just now have found all this out. So many people knew, I personally didn't, but I got to tell you, I'm a music buff myself.
I can tell.
I used to
Always
sing.
humming.
I used to sing in New York, and in several different bands, and but mostly rock and like the Carole King kind of stuff, or Stevie Nicks, all that stuff. But so, yeah, now I'm really into it. Now that I'm a little older and I have time to check all this neat stuff out, and I love this music. It's just wonderful.
Well, about
Just great.
I'd say 3 years ago, a friend of mine, John David Thompson, he wanted to introduce me to Jimmy Johnson. He said, well, you know, he's married to my wife's cousin, and I really want you to meet him. And I said, well, yeah, I want to meet him. And so he set a time to go meet Jimmy Johnson. So we had an appointment set, and Jimmy got sick, couldn't keep the appointment, so we rescheduled. And then during that period, something else took place, and he wound up passing away.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I didn't get a chance to meet him. But John David said, well, I still want you to meet Becky, his widow. And so in the early 2000s, right before COVID hit, I went down to Muscle Shoals to do a book signing and met with her and a tour guide, and we went to Muscle Shoals Sound Studio where Jimmy did some recording. And that's where Dwayne Allman comes in.
Yes.
Kind of throw that story in there.
That's a great story.
In a few moments.
You got to tell it, yeah.
But she wanted to carry me to his old stomping grounds, and I played her a song from my TV show, History Highway. And I played the theme song for it, and she said, that song has bone. I said, it has bone? She says, yeah, that's what Jimmy would say. She says, Jimmy would say that song has bone. She said, that song is good to the bone.
Oh, that
said,
is
no
awesome.
matter who sings it, that song is just a good song. And I said, well, that's cool, I like that. So it was a high compliment. And she began to introduce me to a lot of his friends, one of them being Billy Lawson. And so she began to introduce me to all these different people in the music business down in Muscle Shoals. So I have to thank Becky Johnson for opening a lot of doors for me. And it was amazing. Some of the people that she introduced me to that told me some of the history behind the studios, that's when I learned about the Dwayne Allman story. Well, Dwayne Allman, oddly enough, when he came to Muscle Shoals, he came there in his station wagon, and he camped out in the parking lot of the Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. And he camped out there and said, I'm going to stay here till you give me a job. And he was determined to get a job.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, the rest of the Swampers, Barry Beckett, all of them, they said, well, let's let him in. Let's see what he's got, see if he's got the chops.
Yeah.
And the rest is musical history.
Yes, it is.
So he had them. And then Jimmy and the rest of the Swampers did the same thing. They were all very good-hearted people. And they'd do the same things. They would bring in guitar players and musicians, give them a break. And so seeing all that inspiration and then seeing the different stories that Becky would tell me about Jimmy, it's like nobody has ever taken time to write a song about these individuals. You know, there's a mention in Sweet Home Alabama about the Swampers.
Yeah.
But that's just a brief mention. I thought, why not, you know, bring them to a highlight and talk about that. So,
that's awesome.
They changed the music industry completely and totally. Of course, Rick Hall and a lot of other people did also. But just this group of four men, they did a lot to change it in terms of their style of playing and the sounds you hear on these big albums. They helped to shape it. So that's the reason I wrote the song, is to pay a tribute to Jimmy Johnson.
I am so glad to hear that, because I was going to say, what did prompt you to write the song, and you have done that.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome.
Well, I think it's very important that, you know, I've been doing history for a long time, and I think it's very important that we, even on modern things, it gets lost.
Yep.
Some of that gets lost in the shuffle, and people don't know what's going on. So you want to at least tell that portion of the story if you can. So.
Absolutely. Well, so how did you get your vision to do that particular song? You were just really focused on all the history and.
I think it was that Muscle Shoals sound. That when you write a song, it's usually. It comes from different directions, but this particular piece, that Muscle Shoals sound, was geared specifically for bringing the attention to what they designed. Because a lot of times, country music was at a crossroads, pop music was at a crossroads, rock and roll was at a crossroads. You had the English movement coming in. Elvis kind of birthed it, along with all the music coming out of Memphis and Sun Records. But then you had the European music coming here, You had the Stones coming here.
Yeah.
All them and the Beatles, they're starting to reshape music. Well, these boys down here, they just took it all, put it all together.
Yeah.
This swamp music was born. And I thought, well, why not pay tribute to something like that? So that's where the title comes from. And then as we began to talk to the different individuals, I played the song for Billy Lawson, and who is a personal friend of Jimmy's, and he said, I'd love to record the song. So that happened last November, and so when he said he wanted to record it, we got everything together and went down in January and recorded the song. And we began to do some filming then of us in the studio, and the concept of the video began to fall into place then of how I wanted to tell the story about a guitar player coming to town like Dwayne Allman, kind of telling that side of the story, and then pieces of my stories thrown in there too. So.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then now you've won awards for this. I
Well,
mean, that is so amazing.
This particular song actually just got wound up as a finalist in
Yes.
World Song Awards,
Yes.
Songwriting Awards. So
It's very impressive.
yeah,
Bravo.
Thank you. And then, of course, Father of the Blues picked up about 3 awards too. So this year's been kind of an interesting year. You know,
Yeah.
to go so long and be unrecognized, and all of a sudden it just
And then all of a sudden, bam. Well, isn't that how it happens?
kind of does sometimes. Yeah, it kinda
You
does.
never know what's coming next, do you?
No, and it kind of makes it exciting. I was talking to some friends earlier over supper, and that's kind of how I see it. And it, you know, you never know.
All right.
I was telling somebody that that's what keeps it exciting.
It sure does. Boy, I'm telling you.
You know, just what's coming around the corner. So I've had the moments that I didn't want to be a part of the music business any longer, but you know, now that I've kind of got the ball rolling,
There's
again,
greatness in there.
Yeah,
You got it.
You just got to keep pushing forward. So
That's right.
you do. But I appreciate what you did. You actually came and you were part of the video process. You were an extra, but you also was kind of like a production assistant. You know, I was needing somebody to kind of keep everybody moving from point A to point B, and you kind of kept everybody organized. And I
Kevin and I work well that way.
appreciated you doing that. And Kevin, my goodness.
I know. What a gem, huh?
You know, when I first met with him, I said, you know, I've been looking for somebody that I can actually work with that sees things the same way.
Right.
That I don't have to explain something a dozen times to.
Exactly.
I can just tell him once,
Yep, and he gets it.
and he's, yeah, okay.
I know. That's how I fell in love with the guy. He
gets
got it. He got
gets it.
me. He got it. You know, it's like, you know, can't say enough excellent about him, but
So that's,
he really is that way, and he really loves everybody, wants to
He does.
bless everybody.
he's good. He's good to work with, and so I started explaining the concept that I wanted some drone shots, and I wanted to have a limousine. I said, you know, we've got this cool 55 Oldsmobile down
Oh,
in
yeah.
down
That
in
was
Muscle Shoals.
amazing.
Yeah. And a friend of mine, Mike Adams, who was born in Carroll County, right down the road from me on Ben Smith Road. Actually, he was down Ben Smith Road at the far end that crosses over into Carroll County. So we lived on the same road, just he in one county, me in the other, and grew up knowing each other. He moves to Atlanta, Georgia, then over to Muscle Shoals, and we'd made contact a couple of years ago, kind of reconnected, and I called him down in Muscle Shoals. He kept saying, you got to come visit me, man. So I said, well, I'm going to come visit you, but you got to do a favor for me. I need an antique car. I said, I'm looking for a 55 Chevy or 55 something. And he says, He says, I got this fishing buddy. And Ray McDougal, he contacted Ray, was literally a next door neighbor. And he and his son Mike brought the car in. I fell in love with it. They had just picked it up in Kentucky about 2 or 3 months before that. It's a beautiful car. You'll get a chance to see it in the video. And my character is standing there, side of the road, thumbing a ride. And so
Great.
so Mike is the guy driving the car. He plays a Marine veteran. And so that's the character he's playing, and he picks me up and carries me to the studio. So the opening of the whole video is us riding in that antique car.
Gosh, that's awesome.
It's a beautiful
You know,
car.
and that was so back in that day. I mean, that's just what you'd have been in
It is.
88 Olds.
Yep. And so we got a chance to make it look like it's 1974, and then we kind of progressed through the years of what's called the heyday of Muscle Shoals, and then we jumped 40 years later, and we wound up at the Parlor with a friend of yours, Mike Hogan's place.
Sure enough.
And so we wound up there, and another friend of mine, Randy Dowdy, he's got a limousine. He said he would bring it, so it's kind of that contrast of the poor boy that starts out thumbing a ride, and then eventually, you know, he's arriving in a limo. So it's a fun concept. And then the part you got to be in was where we were at the Parlor having the band, and Dr. Andy Lundberg.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, so.
We've got some of those pictures up on screen there. That was great. And it was loud, and I love loud music. That was such a fun night.
It was. We had a lot of
fun
jamming. It was cool. Now, you know, we wanted to have a large crowd, and we had a real good sized crowd there that seemed to love the music, and they really got into it. So.
Well, how stressful was that for you? That was a lot of goings on.
Well, this has been. It's funny. Some people say, "How long does it take to do a project?" And you know, concept of a music video. It's less than 5 minutes.
Right.
You know, it's 4 minutes, 39 seconds or something like that. And so you think, oh,
that's not going to take
anything. It'll take a day to do that. And I started filming in January. And so we just finished filming the night that you were there, about a week and a half ago. So.
Yeah, so your little couple days turned into 7 months.
Yeah, and I kept trying to tell everybody, I said, you know, when you show up on set, you know, we could be shooting the same scene 4 or 5 times, maybe a dozen times, and we could be there 3 or 4 hours, and it's just, people can't imagine it taking that long. Now, we're shooting a live show now.
Right.
And so once we started right at 6:30.
Right.
We're going to try to be over by 7:30-ish.
Right.
So we try to keep it on a precise time.
Right.
But when you're shooting a music video, it's totally different. Or shooting a movie, it's totally different.
Totally.
You're there till the scene is done.
That's right.
You have to get it until you capture what you want on tape.
Lots of long suffering through things like that, you know.
So,
but it's a great video.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, and we're going to be seeing that here.
It's going to be cool.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm really happy about it. So I know you're satisfied with it.
Yeah.
I know I really was never bored or anything. I mean, I was so into it and so happy it was happening.
And it's hard to explain to somebody, you know, that we're actually shooting a music video here. Which there's been a lot of video production here for several years. I've been involved in film and video production in Henry County since the 80s, since the early 80s, 1980s. I had a company here years ago, and we did a lot of corporate work and a lot of commercials. But, you know, it's still different.
Right.
It's still different. When you tell somebody local that I'd like to have you to be a part of something.
Yeah.
It's like even with Mike. Mike Adams is on a TV show that's Southern Woods and Waters. He's a fishing guide, and so he takes people fishing, has a camera crew with him, the whole 9 yards, like the old Bill Dance show.
Right.
It's kind of what Mike does along with some other people on the show. And so he's used to that. But I said, Mike, I said, you're going to have some speaking parts. Well, he's used to ad-libbing. You know, you're just out there fishing.
Oh, yeah.
You reel it in, and you talk about, you know, what bait you've got on your hook and all that stuff. Well, here's the deal. Now you got lines that you got to say.
Yeah.
And got to get it right. So we had a chance while we were riding around, and we're rehearsing our lines back and forth. And when it came time to turn the camera on, he was spot on. So
that's awesome.
It was fun to be working with somebody that's a professional. But I said, no, be ready. And so we started at 9 o'clock that morning, and it was nearly 5 o'clock, between 4 and 5 o'clock before we said adios.
Yeah, it's an all-day thing, all day. I know it, but it is so much fun. And the memories, I mean, how wonderful.
Yeah.
It's such great stuff, you know.
Well, you know, sometimes you can think of a music video being as a vanity type of thing, and somebody wants to say that about what I'm trying to do is a vanity, that's fine. You can fire that missile if you want to, but this is about trying to preserve a little bit of honor and
That's right.
a little bit of something for Jimmy Johnson and the Swampers that will someday be forgotten if we don't take time to help, preserve their memory of what they did to the music industry.
Right, exactly. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with any type of vanity at all. I just think it has to do with, the memory, the music, this time, and this area, and preserving all of this together. I think it's wonderful. And we do have this video ready to show.
Okay, cool.
So I guess Kevin's going to roll it.
Is this some of the behind the scenes stuff?
This is the behind the scenes. So.
Hello.
Behind the scenes. You have to have
This is behind the scenes, yes. Now, let me be serious. But seriously speaking, folks, this is a music video, and this will be a music video that the whole wide world will see, I hope. But it's going to be great. We have extras like this. This is one of our extras. He is a great extra. I love his shirt. That shirt comes from where? Neiman Marcus, probably. It looks like a
Neiman Marcus.
It's a Neiman Marcus shirt. It's got to be.
Oh, Neiman Marcus.
And we have Terry Ling here with us. She is a star in her own right as MUFON and then the Bigfoot stuff too. And then of course we also have the show Good Day Paris. So she is the hostess of the Good Day Paris. So and then next is Kurt Taylor. He is the drone pilot extraordinaire, amateur drone pilot extraordinaire. And this gentleman here this is Mike Hogan. Not to be confused with Hogan's Heroes.
No names, please. No names.
But he did escape from a prison once.
Accused but not convicted.
Right. And this gentleman here is James Swore, and I swear he did it. And this gentleman here, he is a doctor.
A doctor of music.
Just play one on TV.
Not really. And the one back there on the drums is a lawyer.
What can I say?
Sorry. But he's a good lawyer. He keeps his beat. And then there's Betsy, and then there's Kelly, and then there's Nice Louie, and all of our background singers and bass players. And this is going to be a fun video. Can't wait till we get it out so we can get it out of our system and quit playing it over and over again. We've played the song 300 times. And once we got past 299, we all wanted to just beat up the guy that's lead singing, and that's me. I even wanted to beat me up. That's how bad it's over. But hey, it's the cameraman we get next. Remember?
Who's the guy in the picture on the wall?
The guy that's actually it looks like a skinny version of Paul Newman, but it is Bob Dylan. Yeah, it looks kind of like Paul Newman in a way, but it's Bob Dylan. Jimmy Johnson, he recorded Bob Dylan at the one of the Shoals studios that he had down there. So.
All right, we're burning daylight.
Hey, we're burning daylight. Let's rock and roll.
Quiet on the set.
This shirt.
Kevin says, "Oh, we're burning daylight." It's like, well, you're the one that started this.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are with our gang, everybody some of the people that were there. I mean, we only had so many seats, right?
Yeah, and we actually had, believe it or not, Terry, we had, counting everybody that was involved with the different cars and everything, nearly 35 people, right at 35 people that were involved in the production. So
I know, it was busy. It was amazing and a lot of fun. And I know we've got our limo driver here.
Yep.
Yes.
Got Randy Dowdy
We've
here.
got Randy Dowdy here.
So why don't we see what some of them had, what their experience was.
Yes. So tell me how it was for you, Randy.
It was a great experience. I learned how to wipe down a limo real well.
It rained 4 times.
It rained. Every time we get this thing wiped down, it would rain, and I have to get out there and wipe off and wipe off and wipe off. But it was a very good experience. I appreciate you, Rick, for letting me come over here and do this. For First Class Limousine to come over here and do this for Rick. It was fun. It was a hectic day, overcast most of it, but it turned out real well, and I'm honored just to be a part of it.
It sure did. It turned out awesome, and thank you for being such a part of that. And then we've got a couple photographers here as well. Yep. So we'll hear what, let's take Dale Blythe first, and then we'll go to James Swore. So Mr. Blythe, you want to take that, and what was it like for you? And then you can pass it
He's
over.
also known as Elvis.
Elvis.
Elvis. And he is in the building. He hasn't left.
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
the building. It was a lot of fun. Rick and I have been friends for years and we've done things together before. And when he mentioned it to me, I was honored and excited. It was a lot of fun, and I played the paparazzi. I don't know how he thought of that part, but anyway, I had to find a camera and acted like I knew what I was doing, and I was taking pictures of him. So it was a lot of fun.
I bet you knew what you were doing.
Well, I'm still learning. But it was a lot of
yeah.
fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's a humble guy there. Hello.
I was just amazed by all the planning and detail that went into the shoots, and aside from that, the song itself and the performance is just a fantastic tribute to Southern rock.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a bit of a secret, Terry.
Yes.
When I first wrote the song, I took in my guitar and my cell phone and made a quick recording of it. We were going to meet and have lunch, and so we walked out in the parking lot after we had a lunch at Uncle Billy's. And I said, "I want to play something
That's a
for
good place to eat.
And I played it for him. The rest is history. He had a fit over it, didn't he, Bubba? It was a good song.
Oh, that is
It's a
amazing.
fun song.
And then we also have Larry and Sue Johnson here from the old Country Mall.
Yeah.
That's right here in Paris. And they were there, and they were rocking with all of us.
Yeah, and
How did you like it? What did you think of that?
Well, it was fun. You know, we had never done anything like that before, and so, and again, the song is great. I really enjoyed the song.
Yes, it was. I mean, really a great song. Well, so here we are.
Yeah,
and,
I have a store. This is a plug for them. I have a store in their store.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I have a T-shirt
Yep.
shop and sell Western hats and stuff there inside their Old Country Mall. So
Isn't that neat?
yeah, and we're actually doing a book signing, and going to visit with people. A T-shirt signing if you want to buy a
Yeah.
shirt. I'll sign the T-shirt. But
It's up on screen right now. Yeah, there's
that'll
your
be on
schedule.
Be on the 15th of July from 1 to 4 o'clock. So
Uh-huh.
if you want to come by and visit, I've had a lot of people say, "Where could we find you?" And I said, "Well, we'll just make a day." And so come and visit, sit down, and we'll chew the fat a while.
There you go.
So
Sounds good. And then where you're playing as well. So
yes,
all that was
I'll
up
be
there.
actually this Saturday. I'll be down in Russellville, Alabama, at
Uh-huh.
the Roxy Theater, playing with
Okay.
Carrie Gilbert and Nathan Jackson. We'll be doing a show there, and then at the end of the month, I'll be back down in Florence doing a show. It's the WC Handy Blues Festival. So
Yeah, if you've got your cell phones, take a picture of that so you've got Rick's schedule. I always tell everybody to take the picture. It's easier to have it
Yeah.
right there on your phone in case you're going to be in the... Yeah, and then you've also got your Facebook.com. Is that /R Revel?
yeah, our
The
Rebel the
Patriot.
Patriot. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just tracking down
So
that
visit
way.
him there. That schedule will also be, it's uploaded there for them as well, right?
Yeah, if you happen to want to watch the music video again after we do the premiere in a few moments, it actually goes live on premieres on YouTube at 7:30 and Rumble. It depends on which format you
very
prefer.
cool.
So
Oh,
I had
okay.
it timed so after we did it here, then you can find it on YouTube and Rumble after 7:30 tonight. So.
Well, yeah, and thank you all the extras that were there, and we were rocking to your music, and we're going to be taking a look at that in just a little bit.
I didn't
That's
know
our
Wes
big
could move like
watch
that, though.
party.
Wes had some moves I didn't know.
He did a great job.
Yeah, I think somebody greased his skid or something before he got there. Yeah, I'm almost an old country boy.
And
I
then
gotta
you
do
had
something.
some other people that you wanted to speak to.
Well,
and you got your
course-
list over there.
Yeah, and of course, Jane. I've known Jane forever, and her dad was a piano player and was an inspiration to me when I used to play at the place called the Little Opry. He would show up, and while I was learning to play the guitar, and her dad would come there. And
Was
play
that
the
your
piano.
first
Everybody's
time
impressed.
out at a video shoot?
Yes, it was.
Well, I saw you having a good time.
It took me back about 40 years, yeah.
And then, of
I'll
course,
say so. And you were there with him rocking away.
Yes.
It It was great. You did such a great job. I was smiling and clapping and looking at you. It was so much fun. Really a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for being there.
Yeah, it's a long list. Of course, the whole band. I really want to thank Andy and his whole band for being there. Nikki Bobo was helping to sing some of the background vocals. You'll see all the faces. Like I mentioned, there's 30 plus people, right at 35 people that were involved with it. Of course, 2 of them, the McDougals that owned the car. But you've got so many different people that had their faces not been there. Had they not been there, the video wouldn't have the look that it wound up with.
Right.
And we had some last minute people that showed up. And for those individuals that came last minute, we really appreciate the fact that they broke loose from what they were doing and they came in and had a good time.
That's right.
And had a happy face on.
They sure did. Everybody had a wonderful time. And the pizza.
Yeah.
We had pizza too. It was a lot of fun.
Hunt Brothers Pizza. Yeah.
So, let's see. So, I think we've been waiting long enough to get to this.
You want to watch it?
Yeah, I want to get to this and make it happen.
Well, I'm ready to watch it too.
All right.
This is the world premiere.
World premiere. Right here from Paris, Tennessee. Good Day, Paris.
What'd you say?
He's setting it up. So
he's setting it up?
He's setting it up. And I think it's ready. Okay, roll him.
It's about time I got me a ride.
Thank you, fella.
Where are you headed?
I'm headed over to Muscle Shoals. Going to get me a job at a recording studio. You know, that one over there on Jackson Highway?
You know what they say about guitar pickers in Muscle Shoals, don't you?
What's that, fella?
They're a dime a dozen.
Let me tell you, ain't nobody got a lick like mine. I'm gonna rock the town.
Muscle Shoals is calling me. I cannot stay away. Gotta hear that river sing and listen to the swampers play. With the guitar on my back, a suitcase in my hand. Muscle Shoals is calling me, 'cause I'm a music man. Jimmy Johnson called me, said you've got the gig. And if you play your licks just right, boy, you're gonna make it big. And when I laid my tracks down, I let my fingers fly. And old Jimmy, he just smiled and let me tell you why. I played it loud, Lord, I played it proud. Bending my guitar strings and making my jelly sing. Playing those hot licks, Lord, I'm playing it real quick. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. Play it, son. The swampers too, but their sound, it lives on in me and you. Swamp music to live and well, to never shows its age. And I'm playing it every night, somewhere on a stage. And I'm playing it loud, Lord, I'm playing it proud. Bending my guitar strings and making my telly sing. Playing those hot licks, Lord, I'm playing them real quick. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. And I'm playing it loud, Lord, I'm playing it proud. Bending my guitar strings and making my telly sing. Playing those hot licks, Lord, I'm playing it real quick. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound.
Wow, that was excellent. I just loved it.
It's fun. It's
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's one of those that you have to watch over and over again because there's so much going on in it. There's
Yes,
a lot of different storylines going on in it.
Yes, very cool.
Thank you.
Boy, that was a huge success.
Well, thank you.
A lot of work, a lot of time, but it was great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It kind of can get emotional sometimes when I told you down when I was down there for the Mississippi Music Awards, and I was sitting backstage tuning this guitar, and they were calling out the names for the particular category I was entered in, and I'm telling myself, yeah, I'm supposed to go on and sing after this, and you know, it's going to be a huge disappointment. They're going to call my name, and then all the other names that's entered in this particular category, and they're going to give the award to somebody else, and then I've got to go out and sing. That's going to be embarrassing. And so I'm sitting there thinking that while I'm tuning my guitar, and then they did call my name out for winning it, and so it becomes emotional.
Yes,
and I've seen people do that on television before.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You sappy thing.
Yeah.
Well, it happens. And so that's kind of how this is with this music video. It's a lot of work gone into it. So knowing that other people appreciated it, it's a good
Well,
piece.
I certainly will. What about all of you? You think? Yeah. Woo! Yes.
Yes. There was a slight delay. Trust me, if you're watching it at home, there would be. It's called a latency problem. It means between that speaker up in the corner and the TV there's a delay.
Well,
so
only in the studio here, not at home.
Not in home. You'll see it.
Yeah, at home you'll see it.
It'll be synced up fine.
Yeah.
But here, the lips are just slightly off.
Yeah.
Just a millisecond off. But that's called a latency problem.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's a digital thing. So, but
Yeah.
the video, it was a fun one to do. But because I'm involved in the editing and all the other things, of course, Kevin came in and saved my neck on shooting the limo scenes. Of course, Dr. Kurt Taylor, he did the drone shots.
Drone
That drone
footage,
shots
that
were
was
beautiful.
great. Yes.
And so it took everybody to make this thing happen. So when I started editing, it was like a magical journey to see it all start piecing together. The puzzle, when it all fit together, it's like, yeah, this is it. This is going to work.
It's a total, yeah.
You know, thank you. Appreciate it. So,
Yeah, why don't you...
I just thank everybody for being
Yeah.
a part of it.
Yes, absolutely. And you're welcome. We had fun. I know we all did, didn't we? Why don't you lead us in a round of that chorus?
Oh, sure.
My goodness.
I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound. I'm rocking this town with that Muscle Shoals sound.
I'm knocking this town with that Muscle Shoals Sound. I'm knocking this town with that Muscle Shoals Sound. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Check out his schedule again, and like I said, if you've got a cell phone, take a quick pic of that and keep it on your phone so you can follow him around, and visit him on facebook.com. And thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This has been great.
Yep.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Yes, and thank you so much for all that you've done.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank
for
you.
caring about that and bringing all that forward. I know Jimmy Johnson is singing your praises right now. That is so cool.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and Kevin for having me.
Oh, yes. Big thanks to Rick, everybody. So don't go anywhere, Rick. Okay?
All right.
We're going to stick around, and what's coming up here, we have a new show coming up soon, and you can stay tuned for that. And it'll be April Wilson and myself. It's called the Paris Paranormal Show. So this is going to be different, but we're going to talk about things that are true, that have been proven true.
I have a
and,
question.
you know, I'd like to get everybody's take on it.
I have a question. It says the Paris Paranormal. Are you a pair of normals?
You know, funny that you would say that. The last show that we were working
April.
on was we were the pair normals.
Oh, really?
PAIR.
That's
yes.
funny.
And that
She's
was a
a hoot.
TV show that was being done in Florida with us.
Oh, wow.
It was our own little reality show, and
That's
that's
cool.
funny you would say that. You didn't
Well,
even
that's
know
cool.
that.
Didn't know it, but
Yeah,
April's
so
fun to work with. So
we'll
that'll
be
be a great
doing
show.
that, so tune in, and I'll let you know when that will happen. Enigmatic Anomalies, which is doing an EnigmaCon this year, right here in Paris at the Paris Convention Center. Enigmatic Anomalies is something that Kevin started way back in Florida many years ago, about 15 years ago or so. And so we're bringing that to Paris as well, and we'll bring in a lot of speakers and the Bigfoot people and some UFO people and some paranormal people talking about all these different things. And don't think it's so crazy, because I bet you out of everybody in here, somebody's had a very strange experience in their life. And when that happens, if you don't know who to talk to or how to deal with those things, you know, that's what got me involved in it, was so that I could help other people go through some of the very strange things that can happen. They don't happen to everybody, but they do happen to a lot of people. And so many people were kind of drawn to me to tell me their stories, and from that, I said, I think there's a need for this, that we talk about these things. And I think there's always a biblical answer and truth to it. You know, there's a reason for things.
We used to do ghost walks, being part of the Sons of Confederate Veterans and doing reenactments and stuff. We would go to graveyards, and it's called doing a ghost walk. So you would be standing next to a tombstone, and you'd tell the story of that individual that's buried there. So one night we were at Columbus Belmont, and under lantern light, you have your lantern lit station, and you'd be standing there waiting to tell your story about the gentleman that's buried there, and you start seeing things in the background. It's like, this is a real ghost walk.
This is really frightening.
This
is kind of spooky.
Had experiences at Parker's Crossroads, at Shallow, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, you know,
interesting.
I've been having different things happen since I was very young, and my parents couldn't understand it. So they just ignored me, which is horrifying, because you're little, you're scared, you're trying to tell your parents, who else could you possibly go to?
Right.
You know, and if they won't listen, then you're pretty much abandoned to be the pilgrim who has to walk through this for the rest of your life. And I'm really I want to reach out to people so that they don't feel like they have to be abandoned any longer if they've got something. Let's take a look at it. Let's investigate it. Let's see what happened and see if we can either debunk it or find some truth behind it.
That's
you know?
right.
See what God says about it.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. And then coming up Monday, we've got the Tennessee Informer with Dave Vance. And I'm telling you, if you haven't watched that, every man and woman of God ought to watch this every single Monday. July 10th is the next one, 7 p.m. Central. And you just log on to www.tennesseeinformer. It's actually tninformer.com. And it's a live show that we do right here at Paris Production Studios. And so he is a state representative, Clay Doggett, that will be here and be talking to Dave. And he'll be asking him a lot of hard questions. That's what Dave does. And he gets a lot of people to explain to us exactly what is happening, you know, in the judicial system, in our government, you know. And a lot of times, you know, you can tell people, but we don't really understand it all. You know, it's just so many people with so much going on. But we need to get out and vote, and we need to know who to vote for and why we would vote for them.
Well, I just, you know, I mentioned it to Kevin yesterday. We visited for a little while, and we shot the, we got another piece that's going to be coming out called the Making of. We'll be talking about how we put the video together. And so we kind of was shooting that yesterday, but I was telling him that it's nice to have you two here, because
thank you.
I know you've had some struggles being here because, you know, you had a home, you moved here making a new home. And just to be honest with you, we need what you have to offer. We need what you and Kevin bring to the table.
Oh, thank you.
We need a place for local media to thrive, and so our stories can be told here locally. So
yes,
thank
absolutely.
you for being here.
I agree. And, you know, we like to bring attention to people like the Old Country Mall, and we like to let people know. So many new people are moving into this area. The locals know about all this, but the newbies don't, and they don't know where to go. So we are trying to get, you know, we always talk about somebody's shop in town who's new, or something that's happening, like Noni's Pizza downtown on the square, my goodness, you know, and the catering service, and all these different Mockingbird, you know, all these different places that a new person moving in would not even know you existed, you know, unless they happen to be in that neck of the woods. Not everybody gets down on the square.
Now there's your question. When did you pick up that saying, neck of the woods? After you got here, before you got here?
I think before. Listen, you, I'm from the real South.
The real South.
Y'all aren't really the South.
From Florida.
I'm from Florida.
That's right.
That's the southernmost tip is in Miami.
There you go.
So, yeah, I'm teaching you how to talk.
There you go. That's what it is. That's what it is.
But
I relent.
Thank you so much again. But will you play us out
now
as we're leaving the studio? And thank you so much.
I'm rocking this town, that Muscle Shoals Sound. I'm rocking this town, that Muscle Shoals Sound. I'm rocking this town, that Muscle Shoals Sound. I'm rocking this town, that Muscle Shoals Sound.